Hello everybody and welcome back finally to more of the NCAA Football 13 Dynasty. We're going to get a look at some recruiting real quick. We'll take a look at some key recruits. We have Ryan Powell at quarterback, scrambler. He's a one-star, but he's a gem. He's got a lot better potential than they actually show. But Alfonso Andrews, another good player we're looking at, a tight end. He looks very good. I really want this guy on our team. He's a 3-star, but he looks really good ratings-wise. We also have Booker Patterson at center. Of course, our offensive line really needs some retooling because they're getting worn down by some of these better defenses. David Thompson, a really solid-looking athlete. And CJ Covington at strong safety from Apple Valley, Minnesota. He looks very solid. At 6'4", he's also got nice size. So, let's move on now. We've got 1 and 2 Kansas. The Jayhawks have us beat out in pretty much every category. We haven't looked too good so far this season, but we're coming off a tough triple overtime loss, and if you look at Kansas' schedule, goodness gracious, that is a tough schedule. I do not envy them at all, and here it is our first home game. We are in the Dome, and just an FYI, the game doesn't have generic... Well, they do have generic stadiums, but they don't have a generic dome. But we use Idaho's stadium because basically Idaho's dome is exactly like the one that UND has. They're pretty much the same. I mean, they have, their little differences, but pretty much the way the stadium is set up and the way it looks is exactly the same. So it's pretty cool, actually, except for the Idaho signage that, for whatever reason, they can't remove those T-Builder teams. I don't get it. But here we're starting off on offense, and Greg Harden makes a nice little catch there after Marcus Hendrickson rolls out, and we'll give it off to Jake Miller. Boom, right there. Nice 7-yard gain for Miller. So 3rd and 1 now. We're looking to try and get a first down, and we get it. Townsend over the middle. I just like that little kind of drag route that comes across the middle there. Hendrickson now back to pass again. He finds Seth Wistoff, the tight end. We are just moving offensively. I have a lot of confidence after the game against Air Force. The team seems to be in high spirits. Mitch Sutton up the middle, a nice 10-yard gain, but there's a flag on the play. And yes, of course, it's holding. What else would it be? Caleb Gilson is the guilty party. So 1st and 15, and it would set up a 3rd and 10 now. We're basically out of field goal range at this point, trying to find Jameer Jackson, but he drops it. And we would actually just punt it away. We don't have the kicking game for field goals, but we set them inside the 10-yard line, and Christ is going to find his halfback out of the backfield, and, well, they get out of that jam pretty quickly and deep into our, well, not really deep, but into our territory to start making plays here. And late in the first quarter now, Kansas just moving down the field like nothing. Our defense can't seem to really stop any offenses so far, and Chris is going to evade several defenders and carry some defenders into the end zone. He's not really a scrambling quarterback as far as I know, and he busted a 21-yard touchdown run to take the lead. So Mitch Sutton gets the handoff. Nice first down run for him. He's a really good backup halfback, and I've considered actually starting him. I don't know. Miller's a good halfback, but he's really strong, so I don't know where to go. I'm trading reps or trading playing time between the both of them at this point, but our offense stalls, and that was all that had to go on that drive. And look at this, man. Our defense is just not that fast. We're getting burned way too many times on these kind of deeper routes, and then look at this one. They got double coverage over here. Nice job there. Could have had the interception. Darrell Brown on the coverage, and now we would get the ball back. Thank goodness, here in the second quarter. And it's going to be Seth Wistoff coming across for a 20-yard gain and a first down, obviously, there. Hendrickson's going to find Ethan Magstad, the fullback. Look at that. Making a big play, getting us another first down. 2nd and 6 now. Hansen, our backup quarterback, is in after Hendrickson suffered a minor injury. And look at Hansen finding R.J. McGill, and Hansen, the left-handed quarterback, making that play look really easy, and it's 3rd and 3 now. He's going to roll out again. Got a bunch of defenders pursuing him, and it's R.J. McGill again. Hansen and McGill hooking up twice on this drive, as Hendrickson has to sit out and look at Jake Miller. Shakes off a poor tackle by the defensive lineman, and it's in. Black and green, green and black all day. It's a tie ball game. 7-7. Kansas with the ball now, under 4 minutes to go in the first half of play. Christ out of the shotgun on 3rd and 5, and Bashir's just drops it. He had the ball and he dropped it. I think he was afraid he was going to get destroyed by one of the defenders around him, but you can't be afraid, especially of this defense. I mean, I don't want to talk them down, but we just haven't played that well so far this season, so I'm just being realistic. But Jake Miller on the handoff there, and Hendrickson panics a little bit. There wasn't many open players on that play, and Miller in the backfield is stopped. And there, number 10 Michigan is leading Notre Dame 10-7. Now we're going to punt it away to the Jayhawks, and look at this. Brett Cameron's punt's going to land right here, and it's going to be down at the 3-yard line. A good hustle on that play. And again, this is their second drive starting inside the 10-yard line. Sims had room to run, but luckily we stop him, and it's 3rd and 5. Just over a minute to go in the first half. Can we hold defensively? They're going to give it off to Sims again, and he is going to be stopped a couple yards short. So we take a timeout, as we're going to have fantastic field position to start this drive and get another score in before the half is up. Jake Miller on the screen play for an 8-yard gain. We're approaching the 30-yard line, 3rd and 2. Hendrickson looks over the middle. It's Jameer Jackson. There is no defenders in that part of the field. I don't know. They were playing a zones to the outside. They had nobody inside. And we can look at a replay here as Jameer Jackson is in prime real estate. Look at this. Nobody there. Nobody's there. They're covering the outside parts of the field, and Jackson just could basically almost walk into the end zone and gives us a 14-7 lead. So we head into the second half of play, and Chris back to pass, looking deep, but Darryl Brown on the coverage. He is having a fantastic game. Nobody can really seem to hit his side of the field. He's playing very well. And Chris back to pass again. He finds his fullback, but he stumbles, loses his balance out of bounds before he can get to the first down marker, and they would surrender possession again. Kansas not having a very good game after their initial couple of drives. Now Hendrickson hands it off to Mitch Sutton, who just doesn't want to go down. He's a machine. And now we're looking to take a 2-score lead if it's possible on this drive. We're going to take a shot downfield to Greg Harden. He had it, but coverage was pretty solid as well. So second down, we give it off to Miller out of the shotgun. It is a 5-yard loss. Good read by the defense, no blocking, so we punt it away again. It's annoying, but Brett Cameron is having the game of his life. This one, the 3rd time he would pin them inside their 10-yard line. So the Kansas offense has had terrible starting field position for this game. Most of their drives are inside the 10 or inside the 20-yard line. They're just not able to get anything going. And a flag on the play after about a 12-yard gain. It would be holding. It's coming back. So it's going to be 1st and 12 on their own 5-yard line. And our defense is going to step up here and stop him for a loss of 1 yard. 2nd and 13. Our defense is pumped up. The fans are on their feet. And Chris is going to find his man for a first down. So disappointing. Defense feels a little let down after that play. Wanted to hold them in their own 10. Chris rushes the throw off the play action. He felt pressure, and it's Darryl Brown who's having a fantastic game. He couldn't quite take it all the way, but it's going to set us up with great field position. And they're in Washington at Arizona State. They barely escape with the win and remain undefeated. So the Huskies hoping to have a perfect season. It's still on. So Hendrickson rolling out on 3rd and 5. Not really sure what was going on here. That was a bad decision. So we settle for the field goal. It's a 2-score lead still. So late in the 3rd quarter, Kansas trying to drive here. They're going to give it off to Sims. 2nd and 6. Can they get anywhere with the ball? Sims is going to finally get a first down. They've kind of struggled with consistency offensively, and this is one of the best catches I've ever seen in the game. You have to look at this. One-handed behind. The pass was behind him. He makes a one-handed catch. That was ridiculous. I believe that was Patterson for the Jayhawks. So Chris, on 1st and goal, dumps it off to Smiley. Not much going on that play. And the defense really wants to hold them to a field goal here. And Patterson, who just made that one-handed catch, another minimal gain. But they're at the 4-yard line now on 3rd and goal. Sims wants to get in, and he's going to be stopped about 1.5 yards short. It's 4th and goal, and they're going for it. Kansas wants the 7 or 6 points in this case, and Sims is going to be stopped short. The defense holds a big goal line stand, and with the home crowd behind them, this is just everything they wanted. We would run some clock off offensively, but we wouldn't score. In Kansas' next drive with 2 minutes to go, it's Patterson making another big play for his Jayhawks. The receiver having a pretty awesome game, and Chris now looking, finds Bashirs. He's going to be inside around the 3-yard line, I think. And the 2nd and goal, Sims going to get the handoff, and he's going to get in this time. He wanted to make sure he gets in. So, onside kick, and the Jayhawks are not going to get anything. Townsend's going to get it, excuse me, and he wants to take it all the way. He runs off some clock and gets some yards on that one. I don't see too many of those returns on onside kicks. So Jake Miller's going to get the handoff with 1 minute to go, and this is going to seal the deal. Kansas would have to expend their last timeout, and we would have a new set of downs. We would actually get a field goal, so 20-14 is the final. UND picks up their very first win of the season and very first win as an FBS team. This was a game I felt we could win when I scheduled it, and it wasn't an easy win at all. It was tough. Defense had to really play well, and they got some help from Brett Cameron, the punter, and that's my player of the game for this one. We'll look at his stats in a moment. There you can see Darryl Brown, a tackle for a loss, an interception, 2 deflections. Really good game for him defensively. But Brett Cameron, 5 punts, 4 of them inside the 20, and 3 of those were inside the 10. That's my player of the game right there. The game he wasn't even considered, but there you can see Dane Christ, no touchdowns. He had 251 yards, a 66% completion, but no touchdowns. He did have the 1 rushing touchdown, but our defense did hold them when it counted, and that big goal line stand was huge. Unbelievable. After the way our defense has played this year so far, it's the least amount of points we've given up, 14. And it's great to have our first home game be our first win. So that's another plus, that we were able to get our first home game, our first win. And there you can see we had 262 total yards of offense. Kansas had 328. The run game was held in check. We finally had a good game. It was nice to finally see our defense be successful. There you can see the only turnover was that interception that Kansas threw, and it was a pretty big one. Allowed us to take a 2-score lead at that point. And here, take a look at the NCAA Players of the Week. Art Laurel for Hawaii, 6 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 5 assisted tackles, 3 sacks, forced fumble, and an interception. It's pretty ridiculous. All that, 3 sacks, forced fumble, interception, 8 tackles for a loss. And there, Ryan Katz was the offensive Mountain West Player of the Week, 18 for 35, 378 yards, and 4 touchdowns. We'll take a look at the Mountain West standings and how everything is shaping up here in the early, kind of first third of this season here. Air Force sits atop the North Division, Utah sitting atop the South Division. As you saw in the North, Montana is winless. We finally, of course, notched our first win, but Thanks for watching, guys. You can see the previous video against Air Force. We had a triple overtime thriller. I highly recommend you guys watch that if you haven't. You can also check out my new FIFA My Player series there on the right. Give those both a click and check them out. See you around.